Look it. Hardly anybody really understands this stuff. Why is that? Well, if you stop and think about it for a moment, most people have never been taught how to earn money. You say, well, we've all learned how to earn money. No, we haven't. We were taught to go to work to earn money. Well, you don't earn money by going to work. First of all, you go to work for satisfaction. There's two forms of remuneration in life. One is money and the other is satisfaction. You go to work for satisfaction. You provide service to earn money. This is something that I learned a long time ago, and it amazes me that school has never taught this. And most families don't teach it. You go to the actuarial department of any of the large insurance companies anywhere in the world, and they will tell you that only 5, 6, 4% end up financially independent after living a whole life. And sometimes in one of the richest economies in the world, in the history of the world. People don't know how to earn money. Well, I learned it a long time ago. I was given this book by a man in Toronto, Think and Grow Rich. This book is the composite of 500 of the world's wealthiest people. It's a composite of their thinking. Napoleon Hill spent 28 years putting this together. And I got that in 1961. I was earning $4,000 a year at the time. I had no formal education. I had 2 months high school, and I had no business experience. I was a very mixed up guy. But this guy, Ray, told me, he said, you do exactly what I tell you, you can have anything you want. Well, I didn't believe that. But there was one good thing. I believed he believed it. And I don't know why, but I thought, I'm going to do what he tells me. Well, you know, by the end of the first year, I was earning $12,500 a month. You annualize that, that's $175,000 a year. I went on in under 5 years to earn over $1 million a year. And I have never stopped studying this subject. I find it absolutely fascinating. I was throwing it around like a drunken sailor in England. I was living over there for a while, opened an office over there. And I'd go down to Playboy, I'd play roulette, I'd just throw the money away because I knew where to get it. Well, one day it dawned on me I'm being very irresponsible. And so I stopped to think, you know, this has been going on for 5 years. I thought, how did I change? Like, what actually happened? Why did I change? I did not believe I was lucky. And I was taught, I was raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. Well, I knew I wasn't really smart. I was raised to believe if you don't go to school, you won't get a good job. Well, I've never wanted a job. And I didn't have a job. I was the president of the whole company. I owned the company. We were operating in 7 cities in 3 countries. Well, I couldn't figure out why I changed. And I thought somebody must know, but I couldn't find anybody that could tell me why my life changed so much. And I'll tell you something else I learned. I learned that people that are fairly successful, most of them can't articulate on why they are. They don't even know how to explain it to their kids. It's not unusual for a parent to be extremely successful and the kids abject failures. That is not unusual. They're what you call unconscious competence. I spent 9.5 years. And when I got all the dots to connect, all I wanted to do was teach this. I thought, my God, this is so simple and it's so obvious. And I made up my mind I was going to start teaching it. I've been teaching this for years all over the world. I've taught it to millions of people. Well, next week, I want to teach this to at least 100,000 people. At least 100,000. Now, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I picked out all the key points of what I'm going to teach next week. I want you to look at them. First, take them one at a time from the top. Go to the right-hand side, money. I mean, that's what this week is about this stuff. See, anybody can earn as much as they want. And I have found the more generous you are, the more you're going to earn. It just seems to be the way the laws work. This whole universe operates by law. Well, certainly we're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about paradigms, second word there. See, paradigms, we're programmed by other people. Our subconscious mind is programmed. There's a program in there in our biocomputer, and somebody else wrote the code for it. They didn't know what they were doing, but that's controlling our life to an enormous degree. This is what accounts for very successful people in school coming out with A average. And they don't make it. They're struggling all through life. How come? They've developed their intellect, but they didn't know in their subconscious mind there was a paradigm. And that paradigm's controlling their life. I'm going to show you how it was developed and how you can change it. Then we go to understanding. Now, do you know one of the wealthiest people in the world ever known, King Solomon, he said, in all you're getting, get understanding. Do you know what's the opposite to understanding? Doubt or worry. A lot of people spend a lot of time worrying about money. The opposite is understanding. Understand money. Well, we're going to spend some time on understanding. I'm going to show you how to develop it, and I'm going to show you the difference when you understand. Then we're going to talk about the mind. Lord, I have spent years working with the mind. I have taught mind to psychiatrists. There's no joke, I have. I had a psychiatrist from Saudi Arabia, Abdullah. He had been practicing psychiatry over there for 16 years. He told me that he learned more about the mind from a practical perspective in 16 weeks working with me than he had learned in all the 16 years he'd been practicing psychiatry. He was a brilliant guy. He was also teaching the people how to memorize the Quran. We have a perfect memory. Then we have perception. You have perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, and intuition. There are higher faculties. It's these higher faculties that separate us from all the rest of the animal kingdom out there. All those little creatures out there are completely at home in their environment. They blend in. We are totally disoriented in our environment. Because we've been given these higher faculties, we can create our own environment. Perception is one of those higher faculties. Okay? Perception. Now come up on the other side, then we go to decision. Do you know most people don't know how to make a decision? Most people do not know how to make a decision. I have never made a decision for my kids. Never. I taught them to make decisions for themselves. You know. Go back to perception for a moment. Perception is how we look at life. And you're going to find, if you just shift your perception a bit, everything changes. It's amazing. We'll come back to decision. I'm going to show you something on decision that I learned a long time ago. You can make decisions very fast and change them very slow. And that's exactly what he tells you to do in this book. He spent a whole chapter in this book. It's one of the longest chapters in the book. Then we go to attraction. You know, the movie The Secret, that I had the very good fortune of one of the lead roles in, and we talked about attraction on The Secret, but we didn't talk about it in any depth. And we were left people with the idea that you just think it and you attract it. Well, that's not true. Attraction is a secondary law. I'm going to talk to you about what the primary law is, and when you get in harmony with the primary law, you're going to attract into your life, which, in fact, you are attracting everything into your life now, but you're going to attract what you want to attract. Then we go to discipline. Discipline is something that I learned a long time ago. I am very disciplined now. Discipline is giving yourself a command and then follow it. When you learn how to do that, you can write your own ticket. And then we get, last but not least, service. Do you know the amount of money you earn is going to be in direct ratio to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. Money, this stuff here, is a reward received for service rendered. service. Now, I'm going to begin this program with something I was taught many years ago by Earl Nightingale. He was a mentor of mine. He said, Bob, before you start, tell the people what you're going to tell them. Then tell them. And then tell them what you told them. I'm going to follow that. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you this week. And then I'm going to tell you, and at the end of the week, I'm going to tell you what I told you. Now, you might wonder, how are you going to remember all this? I'm going to teach you how to remember it all. I'm going to teach you how to remember everything I teach you all week long. I got it out of books. Mentors. I'm going to teach it to you. Now, how are you going to remember all this? Well, you know, I told you about Abdullah teaching people how to memorize the Quran. Well, I had the good fortune of working with Harry Lorraine. He had the best trained memory in the world. And I had the pleasure of working with him. He memorized Time magazine flying from New York to Toronto. It was amazing. I asked him one time, I said, Harry, how long do you remember something? He said, till I want to forget it. Well, he taught me something about memory. He said, you remember through association, but ridiculous association. I'm going to show you how to remember all these subjects. I want you to write them down as we go along. And this is how you remember them. We get it and turn it into something ridiculous. On the left-hand side, we've got dads. On the right-hand side, money pump. Dad's money pump. That's ridiculous. That's how you remember. Ridiculous association. Just remember Dad's money pump. And write it down, and then the words that go along with it. You'll remember every part of the seminar. It'll be the most valuable information you ever got. You're going to remember it. Some people ask me, how do you remember so much? We have a perfect memory. A perfect memory. So we take decision, attraction, discipline, service. That's Dad's money pump. Listen, don't just get in this yourself. Get a couple of friends, a couple of relatives that you can brainstorm this with afterwards. You're going to want to talk to them about it, and I guarantee you can learn how to multiply this stuff. I don't care how busy you are. This is one of the most important weeks